So welcome to this week's episode of Leadership Soundbites with RokoM and Michele. And so this week, we're going to be talking about the power of why. The inspiration is Simon Sinek and the Golden Circle. And I want to kick us off with a quote. There's a couple of them, but I'm going to start with this one. There are only two ways to influence human behavior. You can manipulate it or you can inspire it. And so this topic came up because a lot recently, and recently, I mean, probably last 3 to 4, 5 months. I've noticed leaders that I'm supporting, there's a lot of change happening. There's a lot of things happening. And yet the why around the initiatives or the work or the things that need to happen aren't coming to the table with the people, the rest of the organization. I'll give you an example. It's like when you're a leader in the organization, and typically senior leader, and you're at the table deciding what this thing is and what's going to happen, you've got context, the why, if you will, the purpose around all the stuff to whatever that change is happening and why it's needed. And I think a lot of times that I've witnessed recently is leaders, when they turn around and start communicating it out to the rest of the organization, they forget the connection back to why we're doing this. And not just one time. You know, as adults, we need to hear stuff 5 to 7 times, especially in this world of ADD or environmental ADD we have. And so that's where this topic came up, is a reminder to us about the importance around it so that we can engage hearts and minds. So what's on your mind?
Well, for me, it's about setting the stage. And I know we've talked about this before, but whether you're creating a vision, or whether you're problem solving, or whether you're managing some change that is occurring, the why sets the stage. So in vision setting, to your quote, it creates inspiration, it motivates, it unleashes the creativity of an organization. In problem solving, it sets the foundation of why this, why now. Why are we focused on this particular problem and not all these other problems that exist in the organization? So it creates alignment. In change management, it manages the fear and anxiety that folks might have about some change that's happening. And you can, to your point, engage their hearts and minds to say, yeah, today your hands may not know how to do this new change, but we're going to ensure that it aligns with our core values, but it creates some purpose and intent so that they can understand that, hey, I'll be able to get my hands to do what they need to do over time. But so it manages that fear and anxiety that might create. So it really is foundational for setting the stage, regardless of the setting that it's being introduced in.
Yeah. The thing that came to mind for me too, because when you step into change management, is around ProSize model, and we've talked about before, awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. So ADKAR. And it is critical for people when people make the personal decision to step in, desire, and support the change. And skipping over it or only having one narrative of it or one delivery method can mean that the results that you plan on achieving from whatever change you're going through, and it could be the smallest change, they'll be minimized if you don't have everyone in the organization engaged with hearts and minds, and sitting back as resistors or hey, this is a flavor of the month, so I'm going to sit back. The other thing that we're talking about offline was there's initiatives that come through, which is where like background problem solving stuff happens. How did we get this point? Why this? Why now? There's no shortage of problems. And what could happen is you could have this initiative going through, and there's going to be people in the organization that are not currently negatively impacted by current state, that are sitting back going, you guys are nuts. I don't see that problem. But yet they're going to be impacted by the change, right? And so to your point, they can tell themselves a different narrative if they don't clearly understand the impact and why this is needed. There was a group recently that I was with that was the case. And the leaders that were on this call, one of them, and it made me smile, is she said, so what problem are we solving, right? So to your point, the why around this is needed, part of the problem statement. And I just had to smile. I felt bad for the person that was presenting this stuff, but I thought they need to know that. And he and his team have been experiencing the pain, but the leaders on the call who had to support this work and this change had no clue what was going on.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it's key that you're creating that narrative around the why. And I love what Simon Sinek does with his golden circle. He really delineates between the why, and the what, and the how. And during a vision session that I was having with an organization, I used the example that sometimes organizations will confuse the what with the why. And they'll create a vision like we make phones or we make automobiles, and they tell the vision is what they actually do. And what Simon Sinek is trying to say is create it around why you do it as opposed to the what. And so an example would be, we connect people around the world is the why. We exist to create, to connect people around the world. That's much more unleashing the, the creativity and the connection to your heart than I make telephone, or make cell phones, or, whatever, computers, or whatever that thing is.
Well, and it's narrowing, right? And it can be limiting, because if you start with the what, right? And now you've labeled people and essentially put them and products and how you support the community in a box.
Yeah.
Versus how do you tap into, let's look at healthcare for a minute. If it just went, and I'm just going to make stuff up right now, people, okay? If it just went and said, you know what, we provide care to people face-to-face, in person, that's it, right? We treat patients through visits, through these in-person visits. Then I don't think you could expand to anything else to go like telemedicine, the stuff that's going on now that's so commonplace. Obviously, COVID shot us into the future. But I mean, I don't think any of that would have played out had people not opened and thought, how do we do this differently? And granted, I think traditional healthcare is very, very risk averse for the most part, and was prompted or motivated, if you will, by what was happening outside the industry. It was stepping into theirs. But the reality of it is, somebody at some point said, how do we provide care to people where they need it, when they need it? And all of a sudden, it's like, you're not limited to brick and mortar anymore. And that's the stuff I love. That's what came to mind when you were talking about Simon Sinek and the difference. And I think it unleashes the potential. Disruptive innovation can happen that way. That's where the cell phone came from.
Yeah. And to the point of, how does it inspire or engage that person's that are working there, their hearts and their minds, and not just their hands, right? Which is the execution of their role or what they've been hired to do. And, I can't tell you how many, if you go on different healthcare systems websites and you look at their vision statements, a lot of them will be that tactical or that what that you mentioned. And whether it's a market position, I want to be the preferred system of choice or the preferred physician group of choice, that it's not very inspiring. People don't join a healthcare system necessarily because they want to be the preferred choice, right? So how might healthcare systems and leaders dig a little deeper in creating that narrative around the why to inspire people, regardless of your position in the organization, so that they can connect themselves to that vision.
What came to mind when you said that is the word it's not inclusive. Right. So when you put something like that that's limiting, to your point, it's like, if I'm in payroll for a healthcare organization, or I'm in finance, right? Because I was in the finance world and support services, how do I see myself connecting to that? And it's a lot more challenging, to your point, if it's so narrow focused into the what and very tactical. Yeah, no, I love it. So this has been nice. And I appreciate your the opportunity to explore this with you, because it's come up a lot. Oh, I had one more. And then I'd like to wrap us up. Only the way you can inspire people to follow you or buy your products. Only the why, rather, not the way. Come on, Michelle, you can read this. Only the why can inspire people to follow you or buy your products. Another Simon Sinek. So it's super important. It's the inspiration piece. It's tapping into heart and mind. So what would you like people to walk away with, Roko?
So creating the why is foundational. Dig deep around the narrative and think about how it does engage someone's heart and mind and not just their hands.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So the thing that just came to mind for me when you were talking is look for it to connect, because what you just said is look for it to connect. And if it's not, look for the iterations of it, right? So maybe what you landed on isn't the thing yet.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe a draft and a start. And I know there was activities before that, leadership teams went through around engaging people to get feedback around that kind of thing, like a value proposition statement or whatever it may be. So get feedback, see how it's landing. It's critical to basically tap into the creativity that exists within your organization and your team. I mean, full potential. So anyway, thank you for this. This has been Leadership Soundbites, RokoM, Michele. And so please like, share, subscribe, give us topics. We're super excited for our guests this year that we've lined up so far. So we hope you enjoy them as well. And until next time, thank you.